Well, we're all loaded up. Gonna head up north somewhere. I'm not exactly sure yet, but we're going ice camping. Get the big shelter along and tag along the flip over just in case we want to move around a little bit and try out the new diesel heater. Kind of excited about that. It's hopefully a much safer, drier, warmer heat source, so maybe a little more reliable. We'll find out, but I'll give you a full review of the diesel heater on the lake there. So. Frosty this morning. Trees are white. It's cold out. It's not that bad, but welcome back to the channel, guys. So one of the biggest things with this ice camping is staying warm. Obviously that's the biggest concern when you're going to be out on the ice. But I'm out on a northern Minnesota lake this morning. I spent the night out here. It wasn't bad at all. In fact, I don't think I'll be going back to propane anytime soon, but I just wanted to give a review of this diesel heater build that I did. One of the best things I've done in a while for this ice camping. But I'll show you the setup. I'll bring in the house, and I'm just packing up, but I figured I'd do this little heater review here. So so there it is. Everything's a mess because I'm packing up here, but basically what I did is I built an all-in-one unit, right? So the heater, the fuel, and the battery supplies all in one container, right? Because being able to organize it like that and not have to carry extra stuff is a big deal. For the ice camping, if you're gonna be staying out for an extended stay, it's always good to have a second, you know, a little bit larger fuel source, because you're going to run out. It burns some fuel, especially when it's cold like this. What are we at? I was just looking at the temperature here. So where we're at right now, yeah, so it's 5 degrees out this morning. There's a little bit of a breeze, and I don't really have the house banked up all that well. There wasn't a lot of snow on the ice, but I've got it running on 10 right now, and it's 61 degrees. You know, I've got my probe hanging here right in the center of the room. I don't have the fan blowing on or nothing coming out of the heater, so I don't know. It's not super warm, but it's just as warm as you would get with propane with that whole stratification deal. But I'll open the box up here and show you kind of how I designed the build. Seems to be working pretty well. I haven't had any issues this first night with it, so, but here you go, check it out. So I got this Husky tub. I believe I got this at Home Depot for like, I don't know, 30 bucks or something. It's not super rigid, but it's more rigid than just a standard tub, so it works pretty well. But so here's the heater. I've got it laying on its side. It's okay to lay the heater on its side as long as the glow plug is up, and you can't go off this cord. You have to open up the top and look, and you can see where the glow plug enters the burn chamber. As long as that's facing up, you're good to go, because then it's not soaking the glow plug with fuel when it's dosing or whatever. So all right, so that's that. Here's the exhaust. Basically I use the standoff bracket, and then on this side, I don't know if you can see that very well, there's just another plate. I just put another plate, and I cut the plastic back far enough so that it's not hitting anywhere and it's not melting. The plate really honestly doesn't transfer much heat, so it's pretty good. But the wiring harness tied up over here. I've got to go into my first fuel pump, which is basically the fuel pump that runs everything. This one here is just a spare. I got this tank. I got this tank off Amazon. I think it's a gallon and a half. I don't know, for like 20 bucks. It's yeah, it fits perfect in here. I've got it blocked in there basically, so it can't move around at all. I just put a little piece of foam there. It didn't fit exactly, but. And then over here, I've got a 60 amp hour Amped Outdoors lithium battery. I've kind of got that cased in there too, so nothing can move in here. Everything is mounted solid, so when you're going across, when you're going across the ice, it's not shaking around and busting everything up, right? But so this dual fuel source is super easy to plumb. I basically got a T right here, and this line is feeding up into the pump over here. Okay. There's a T here, and then there's a shut off here and a shut off here. So when you go out for a day trip or a shorter trip, and you're not running an auxiliary tank, just turn this to off, turn this one to on, and you're pulling fuel from here. If you want to run, you know, for an overnight stay or a couple day stay or whatever, turn this one off and flip this switch on, and then you're running your auxiliary tank. Pretty simple. I mean, it's not rocket science by any means, but it's all in one. And you got the exhaust coming out. Like I said, there's a plate there. And what I did is just took basically this pipe inside of here is a standard size, like a 2.5 inch, I think, for bigger pickup exhaust. And then I just took some flashing, it's actual flashing for roofing, and just wrapped it around there with a hammer. I kind of cut it into a star pattern, and then just made a flange on there basically so it would hold that pipe in the center of that going in there. Then basically you've got a double walled pipe. This is just exhaust wrap basically for manifolds on cars or motorcycles. But it works great for this. I've had this heater running all night, and I can grab onto this. It's warm, but it's not hot. Like, it's not so hot that you can't have it passing through this material. It's not melting any of the nylon or anything like that. So, yeah, I mean, it works well. The other thing is, if you look, there's no moisture all over. I mean, it's cold out. If I was running propane in here, these walls would be covered with frost. I mean, there's a few areas like down towards the bottom where there's a little bit of frost, but I mean, it's not anywhere near what it would be like with propane. So I don't know, I'm impressed. I think it's going to work really well for ice camping. I think it's a better solution than propane. The other thing is, you're not getting all the fumes, right? I always get sketched out with the propane fumes, and people die that way a lot. I think with the buddy heaters, you can kind of trust them a little bit with that low oxygen shutoff, but if that thing fails, you really want to depend your life on that. A vented heater is just a much better option. So, but yeah, I'll show you the exhaust outside. You know, I've just got it coming out that propane port, basically, on the shelter. And I punched a bunch more holes in here so that it's just basically letting more heat out. And then the muffler on there. I think I might see if I can find a better muffler, something that quiets it down just a little bit more. But, I mean, it works pretty well. Nothing's melted. I've had this thing running for 24 hours, so I mean, that setup works pretty well. If you have any questions about the build, just comment down below, and I'll see if I can help you out. But yeah, it's pretty simple stuff. It's with a little bit of ingenuity and just some few basic tools, you can build one of these no problem. I will show you one other thing. The fuel pass-through, I just got a 3/16 ounce barbed bulkhead, essentially. Barbed on that side, barbed on that side, with a nut in between that pinches them together so you can mount it on a flange like that. But yeah, well, I figured I'd just run through the startup process with you. I know a lot of people are concerned about the battery use or kind of mystified by it. It draws a fair amount of amperage. At startup, and I'll show you this, but at startup it draws the most amps, and when the glow plug kicks out and the burner is actually just running by itself, draws 3 amps, about 3 amps on high. You can run it down on level 4 or 5 and it's down to, you know, just under 2 amps. But here we go. I'll show you the startup process just so you can see it for yourself on this battery shunt. So right now it's just blowing a little bit of air. This is kind of how it starts up. Shortly here you'll see the glow plug kick in and the current will go way up. You got to be patient with these things. The startup process is fairly slow. A lot of people get worried about them and kind of think everything's not working properly, but I just turned this one off. I feel like the temp sensor maybe needs to cool down to a certain temp before it'll run the startup process. I noticed when you shut it off. Okay, now the glow plug is kicking in now. You can see the amps going way up. It should go up to about 8, I think 7.5, 8 amps. And 7 amps. The thing's already warm, so it's not drawing quite as many amps as it would on a full cold startup, but there we go. Now it's drawing a bunch more. It's heating. Should start to fire soon here. And we're into this about 2 minutes now, probably. There we go. The fuel pump just kicked in. Fan kicked on. There we go. She's running wide open now. Got a full burn going. Fairly soon the glow plug should kick out. This thing is running at number 10. It's on high. Amps will start to go up once it really starts going here. It's about to. There you go. Now it's running full wide open, it sounds like. Amps are going up. It's pumping more fuel and it's moving more air. Now, so right there is about wide open. Now, is it 3.1 amps? So now I'll kick her down to like level 5 here. And I can show you where it runs at on level 5. So we got her turned down to halfway. Still seems like it produces quite a bit of heat. You know, it's just not moving as much air. Yeah, so 1.3 amps. So if you're conservative, I mean, you could get this thing to run probably 2 days with the 60 amp hour battery. I've got a 100 amp hour that I can plug into my quick disconnect here. That is hooked right into the battery system, so if this one starts running low or if I just want to conserve that battery, I just run my 100 amp hour that I use to run the lights and all the accessories of any sort. But yeah, so there's the battery use for you. If you like these videos, just click like and subscribe, and I'll keep making them. You guys keep watching them, so tight lines and stay warm out there.